Oui,
Hey,
exacto avec glace.
una cerveza, por favor. Stephen, can you get a cerveza and put a stool next to Mark so
No,
he has
no, no, especially, please, no.
water.
A high glass.
Yeah. I just want to cheers you.
No, no,
Like this, a nice high glass.
a glass, ordinary glass.
Are we ready? We're ready. All right, let's do that again, Mark. Let's do something else. We're going to open sharp on Mark and zoom out, okay? Are we live on YouTube? All right. And are we zoomed in on Mark? All right. Hey, you, looking through the looking glass. Hey, you, staring at your past. The rocket ship took a blast up in space. The rocket man time was time. Gravity spoke. Nothing but space. All right. We're just reflecting down here. Thank you for joining us. We are live and alive at the Radio Tulum Hotel. I am so excited to inform you of all the reflections, the perceptions, the shadows of my mind. If you can hear me out there from behind the light, I'm very excited about this new life. Even though she went up and left, and all the thieves in the temple crept in some space of time. Baby, come back. Oh, baby, come back. There's so many girls around. They all want to hear my sound. Baby, come back. Baby, come back. Baby, come back. I saved the space where the ghosts they lay. And the hustlers, they stay. Baby, come back. Baby, come back. Baby, come back. Even though there's nothing left. Baby, come back. Thank you for joining us. I am with my dear brother, my brother in arms, as the Dire Straits song, Mark. Mark, what's your last name? Gaines?
My last name?
Yes.
M-O-P-T-Y.
Mopti. I'm joined with Mark Mopti right here, a poet of some sort in film, documentary filmmaker, who has traveled a long path to get here. How are you, Mark? How are you?
A little bit best than yesterday.
Well, that's what we can hope for, right?
Perhaps that tomorrow.
Ah, isn't that beautiful?
I'm sick.
Well, I mean, I think that's all we can hope for, is a little bit better than yesterday, perhaps a little bit less than tomorrow.
No, it's pity to be sick in that town. It's pity to be sick in that town because I cannot profit, I cannot enjoy, I cannot. I am handicapped. Sorry, I am handicapped.
But you know, we're all handicapped in some way, but you're physically handicapped. But you've lived a full life, yes? As a filmmaker. When did you know you wanted to be a filmmaker?
Sorry?
When did you know that you wanted to be a filmmaker?
Your film? About you?
No, you. When did you know that you want to explore the world of film?
Oh, a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yes, about 50, more 50 years.
What happened? What made you decide?
You know, the planet is big, is large. The planet is large, and not enough time to discover everything. I'm obliged to make choice. And a part of my life was in the east of Russia, India, China, and east of Europe, east of many things, and sometimes South Africa and so on. But the West, I let the West to the others.
What led you down the path of the East? Was it a philosophical?
Philosophical.
Philosophical.
Mainly philosophical. What I've learned to school, everything, the sun is rising at the east. You know, that's the reason. That's the one, to see the rising sun.
And what was your first film about? What was your first film?
It was advertising films. Sorry, it was a advertising film, publicity.
BBC?
Hey.
And what was it about?
It was about a tepish, a flying tepish.
Is it a bird?
Yes.
What is it called? What's the bird called?
A flying tepish.
Uh-huh. And how did you discover that subject matter?
Sorry?
What led you? What made you say, I want to go make a movie? Oh, the BBC asked you.
Yes.
Or did you pitch the BBC? Did you say hey to the BBC?
It was the beginning of BBC. Because at that time there was a Channel 4. The Channel 4 was a channel from Bristol, and very creative channel, and very experienced channel. That's the reason why it was my first film. But I was 29.
Wow.
You know, 29.
Wow. Was it a time at the BBC? I'm trying to think of the director who made a ton of films for the BBC about Beethoven. What was that time like? You're 29 years old. The BBC calls you, or you approached the BBC,
Yes.
and you said,
But it was simple. It's like a bar in a bar. That was my first meeting, you know.
when
In
the
a bar.
and was it passion that led you? Where did you go? Where was the flying tepish? Where was the flying tepish? Where was it? In Russia? In India? In
I don't know. It was
you never found her.
No, no, never. Because it was flying. It was flying. No, it's like a flight. It was. I remember the first. The second, no, I don't remember. I remember the last.
And what was the last?
The first and the last. I remember.
In between, you don't remember.
No, no. The last was about painter, impressionist painting in Europe, in France, Normandy, and in Russia too, because the painting Russian is a big school of painting, and Monet, and so on and so on.
The Impressionists.
All the impressionist school. I was obliged to go to Russia just before COVID, and to meet people who painting, who came in France and come back in Russia to paint, and to prove that the impressionist movement was important for the rest.
Well, I mean, I think the Impressionist movement was very important because this is the first time in the history of art. I don't know if you know the history of art, but not you personally, but the audience who don't know their fucking history, was very important because art had to move away from the church. And I think it was the Impressionists who actually pushed the movement because of their pixelation. They went to all these fields and pixelated the image. Prior to the Impressionists, it was all caricature. It was painting for the church. So it's a very important movement. But you told me about this village, this school, that is, you cannot take, tell me about the school.
Each year, a Russian painter come during 1 month to paint the sea, to paint the clouds, to paint the rock, to paint the grass, to paint the houses, to paint the Normandy country. And every year they stay 1 month, and they're obliged to not to sell the painter, not to sell the painting, but they're obliged to keep with them because the government has forbidden to sell.
Well, this is so one of the reasons why Mark and I are sitting here is because it's not Mark's last film that we're going to talk about. It's his next film.
Yes, exactly.
That's why we're sitting here. And just to give you an idea, I love this notion, Mark, about not selling something.
Okay.
Because I think everything is, as Leonard Cohen so eloquently put, the dove is always bought and sold. But this notion of your last film about a subject matter where a painting, an art piece, they're obliged to not sell it is very important to me. And I think I just made a film that I've had this idea for a long time. On my first documentary, on my first attempt at a precise piece, I wrote a book called The Small Letter I. And I had this idea that I would take this book and I would put the pages outside the train, thus becoming the book. And in my last film, I actually burnt the book because the character doesn't want it to be bought and sold, and he wants to become the thing. So one of the other reasons, Radio Tulum Nation and all these folks in the audience, my God, thank you for joining us, everybody, at the Radio Tulum Hotel. There's so many of you that I can't really see. One of the reasons that we are sitting today is that you want to do another project. What is this project?
To make a film of you.
To make a film on this minor little Indian man poet. But
No, because you have your own world.
I do have my own
You have
world.
your own friends. You have your own music too. You have your words. Speak. Own speak.
Yes, thank you about
It's
that.
yours. It's yours. Never I have seen somebody like you.
Oh,
No, sorry. From India.
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly, that is very true. I am so un-Indian Indian. It is very true. And so, if you want, I can tell you a little bit about why I fight the urge to be the common Indian man.
Fundamentally.
Huh?
Fundamentally.
Not just from the mountain, but from Delhi, from the old ghettos of Delhi. But, I discovered a long time ago, Mark, that we all need to be universal. The gift of the Indian in me is time. That the blood of India, I realized, runs through me. And the greatest gift India, or being of India, has given me is the understanding of compassion, of course, at the deepest level. But also,
It's everything I see you. It's everything you say. It's everything. But you cannot push out your Indian soul.
never.
Okay.
No, never would I want to even push out. So one of the things in my life, I did a documentary film on the study of violence. I went to LA and I wanted to study violence. And because I was in the art world and a man wanted to do, an artist who was handpicked from the New York art world, went to LA to do a project on Mara Salvatrucha, which is the most hardest gang in the world. They have tattoos on their faces, and they're El Salvadorian. And what I watched of this artist was that he never wanted to be involved. So I found a gang member who had never had anything in this world, and I started filming him, and I started thinking the next step to the Indian is to become universal, to understand that there's universal. I'm not Indian, but I'm fucking as wide as the world is wide. And I thought I could film this man for 15 years. I would see him, that's radio barking away, that I would watch him through time, as I think I said this to you, the phrase by James Baldwin in a letter, he said, I've known to his nephew, I've known your father from his youth to his middle age onto his old age. And it is now I understand time because
Yes.
I've known a man through time. And one of the things that I discovered then was that, you know, I cannot hold the common man. The common man can't help but be from somewhere. You know, from India, from France, from Canada, from Sonora, from, I don't know, Toronto, from. And I created a character named the Wizard of Ov. I said, okay, I can't really help humans to understand that there's no difference really between you, me, and everyone else, that we're all in one ancient durable order called humanity and struggling for the same little morsel of food, a little love, a little sharing, a little connection. But we're so stuck, you know, and okay, that's fine. So I created a character named the Wizard of Ov, which to me is that, okay, voila, merci, which to me is allows, I say to someone, or I say to myself, I am not from India, I am of India. So the difference is that I belong to this place, or I grew up, or I'm the blood of this little place. And all of that historical data runs in my blood, whether it be the Kama Sutra, the caste system, the Sikh, or anything else. And I think it's a nice idea to say, I am of somewhere. This is where the problems, like in Mexico, you see it a lot, right? I'm Aztec, I am Mayan, I am of Spanish descent. Like we're always dividing ourselves. So why not understand that you're Mayan, you're Aztec, you're all of these things because you belong to a place. And if we move away from the from, I think we spoke about this, the separation. No, I spoke about it with Brad. The separation goes away. Because one of the things I want to inform you is that if you look at the world from space, they ain't got no boundaries. You know what I'm saying? There's no lines dividing the countries. So that's something that I've learned in life. I think that that's really my whole goal. One of the goals in life is to understand the human condition, understand, and that's very Indian also. I cannot remove even my Sikhness. You know, I was born a Sikh. So
I know.
Please, I'm taking up all the space. Go ahead. You have any other questions? Tell me about your.
I'm on the beginning. I have two eyes to observe, two ears to understand, and I am in the beginning, and I try to explain to you. I would like, because you told to me with a story of rickshaw of your father at the beginning in India, and it makes me an idea. Rickshaw, I know the rickshaw. And what is the first image build when you think to the first rickshaw to your father? What you retain in your mind?
When I first saw my father?
Right.
My father.
Yes, your father. You talk to me. He has a rickshaw. He had a rickshaw. No, he was a rickshaw driver.
No, he was doing his second PhD at Carnegie Mellon. It's a very important school. When I was born in
Right.
Philadelphia.
In what town?
in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh,
Okay.
Pennsylvania, America, United States of America. So the way that the Indians are married was an arranged marriage. You know, there's no, especially in the old days, most of them are arranged. And my mother lived in the ghettos of Old Delhi, in the very poor, poor place. I mean, they didn't feel poor.
Not rich.
Yeah, I mean, less than rich and less than middle class. They didn't have hot water, to say. And there were 7 brothers and sisters, and my mother was the oldest. And her mother and father, my grandparents, used to work. So my mother was responsible of 7 children, basically 6 her brothers and sisters. So my father, who was a very poor man himself, who rode a bicycle and a rickshaw in a young age and saved 1 penny a day.
I know, young age. Yeah.
Very young, and somehow got a fellowship to this school in America to do his first PhD. And so he came to India looking for a wife, and he found my mother. And my mother was like, I'm out of here. My mother was beautiful, I mean, like so beautiful, and she had many proposals, but she didn't want to be close to any of her family. So the minute the proposal came that she could go to America and be far away, she signed on. You know, my father was a dark man, but precisely dressed and pretty, you know, I don't know if handsome, but I guess she said what Leonard Cohen said, you know, I know you preferred handsome men, but for me you would make an exception. So she made an exception for my father and went off after 6 months or so to get her visa, went off to America. And within 9 months or 10 months, I was born.
He's 70, yeah? He's 70.
1970, yeah. So she married in 69. I was born in 1970. I mean, you know, who doesn't want to have sex for the first time? And as soon as I was born, I was 2 months old, and my father at this point was doing his second PhD in mechanical engineering, and he was declared a schizophrenic. And, you know, he went to my mother and conscious enough to say, and she was pregnant again. I was 3 months old, she was pregnant again. And he said, you know, I'm going to hurt you, I'm going to hurt the new child, and I'm going to hurt Mandeep. And you must go. So my mother said, okay, I go. And she went to London. She had an abortion in 1970 in England, and then went off back to her ghetto with her mother, with her grandparents. And I grew up in India till I was 10. There was a...
Anyway, you are a 68 child.
70. What do you mean, 68? 70.
The French say 68. Why revolution, 68? He's 68. You don't remember you was not born?
No, I wasn't born yet.
But you know, 68, you can ask to people, 68 it's a point. It's a point blank.
Oh, you know what? Yes, I agree with you, because this is the assassination and a lot of stuff happens in 68,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
It's the death of the hippies, actually. It's the death of the world
Eh?
in 68. Yeah. It's actually the death of the world. And if you guys know your history, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X is assassinated much earlier. Bobby Kennedy gets assassinated in 68. And this is the one last chance that's left for the world to be saved.
Vietnam, and so on, and so on, and so on.
And then Vietnam starts and all this other stuff. Absolutely. There was another thing I wanted to say about my life. Oh, you want to hear the story of my name, how I am named? So the meaning of my name is light of the heart and light of the mind. So the way a child is named in India is they open their Bible, the Sikhs, and they point blindly at a word. And whatever the first letter of the word is, they will name their child from that letter. So my mother did it in Philadelphia, because she lived in Philadelphia, not in Pittsburgh. And she came up with the letter M and said, oh, I'm going to name this child Light of the Heart, Light of the Mind. And my grandparents in India knew I was coming because I was the first child in this great big family. And they also did this ritual and came up with the letter M and decided that they wanted to name the child Light of the Heart, Light of the Mind. So I don't know if that means anything. It's way above my pay grade. I don't channel anything. I don't believe in the Fibonacci code. I don't think anything else but the human experience. But there's something to be said about rising to your name, you know, becoming your name. So yeah, I mean, I never knew my father till I went out with a Bolivian stripper who had a gambling habit for about 5 years. I mean, if I can digress, my greatest heartbreak of a love story. So I wore a turban for a long time.
I know, you remember Ravi Shankar?
Huh?
You remember
Ravi Shankar. Yeah, of course.
No, Nora Jones, Ravi Shankar.
Ravi Shankar?
Oh, yeah, Ravi Shankar.
Yeah, I know Ravi Shankar. You know, I have to tell you, I always wanted love. Love is the thread that runs through me, being light of heart, right? You know, my mother left when I was 5. I was raised by a large family. But when I came to America, I wanted the touch of a woman. You know, I never knew when your mother leaves you at 5, you don't really remember, right? And everybody would tell me things about my mom. I was raised by my uncle, my grandmother. And I remember coming to America as a child with a turban on my head and looking in the mirror, fixing my hair, you know, and saying, I can have any woman I want. You know, I knew that I wanted to explore love. And I know I make a joke that I went out with a Bolivian stripper, but that's not the important part. Who had a gambling habit, whose father, in fact, was involved with Che Guevara, his assassination. So big to-do family. But you know, with her, I really understood how to be a soldier of love. Even before that, you know, I was a womanizer. I fucked, and I fucked, and I fucked. Like, I used to be the best salesperson in all of America, and
I've seen it.
yeah, and but the idea of love, to explore the action of it, to see the process by which another human, like, what is the action by which we love, was the most important lesson I learned from the Bolivian stripper. Aside from finally running away and the general coming to take her away because she was Mother Nature, because the darkness of the stripper world is crazy. And some other day I'll tell you my stripper story, but I stripped once just to see what the darkness was like. Anyway, Mark, why don't we break into a little song together? Give them a little song, shall we? All right, here we go.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. We're live from the Radio Tulum Hotel. So many amongst us, so many humans joining us at live from the Radio Tulum Hotel. I am with Mark, my dear brother. said to his son, take my books, take my gun. Remember, my child, how they lie. The war and the soldiers cry. If love is the answer, then don't ask why. My mother gave me her shawl. She said, son, let the light inside. As you go to the world, you gotta learn how to cry. The star in the sky, they may be gone, but still let in the light. So I closed the door. I said goodbye. Oh, mother, father, I shall find my way. You gave me love best you could, but I got to go on the road unknown. Love, she called through the snow. Father, I want to kill you. Mother, I want to fuck. Little Jim Morrison for you. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We've got such a good audience. Thank you for joining us, Mark.
Sorry.
Yeah. We were going to keep going, but
Sorry.
thank you for joining us. Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful night. So many live at the Radio Tulum Hotel. I wish you were here with me, Radio Tulum Nation.
I was a cramp in my hand.
Ah, you got a cramp.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, we're going to do it again. Thank you for joining us. I am just so thrilled on this new stage that you're joining me. I'm joined with Mark, my brother.
We can do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. You want to try it again?
Not now.
Okay, let's continue on. Tell me about, well, you remember your first film and your last film. But tell me, as you're sleeping, Mark, what is the memory that still strikes you? A memory. Tell me of a memory that still strikes you.
Sochi.
Tell me of a memory that keeps coming back. ¿Cómo se dice memory?
Mémoire.
Yeah. Your memoir.
In my memory. I don't remember in my memory because I'm obliged to make choice in my mind, in my memory. I'm obliged to be like a Mac, like a Mac, and yeah, I'm trying to swim.
You're trying to what?
To swim.
You're trying to swim. But as you swim, there must be something, some moment, some time, some place, some age, some rock that catches you as you swim. No?
No.
Nothing. Why do you think that is? Why do you feel like you're just swimming?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here, there, anywhere.
I'm 80, you know.
Close to my mother's age.
80.
Yeah.
And I'm saying himself, now is another world, but I can be in that other world.
Yeah.
I'm staying in all the world, my world. 44.
Well, it's certainly a different world than the one both you and I grew up in. I mean, you even more. God damn, can you go tell them to turn this Mexican music off, please? Jesus Christ. People are having a good time.
Right.
You know, Schadenfreude. It's not that I succeed. It's that everyone else must fail. Anyway, I won't let it bother me. Stand still in chaos, my friends. Letty, stand still in chaos, okay? Radio really got along with your dog today, by the way. You know, we do live in a different world, Mark, but you've lived 80 years of life, my brother, my brother in arms. 80 years of life, 80 years of moments of highs and lows and daughters and sons.
Everything.
Everything. There isn't a moment you hold on to? There's got to be something.
And my only regret, you know, it's when you make a film, when you are directing films, documentary or fiction, you meet people, you meet many people outside of your staff. Many people are in front of you. And you think I make a movie with them, and it's impossible to be sure to meet again.
Make an end.
To meet again, because
yeah.
Many times I'm trying to phone them, but they was dead. They were dead.
Yeah.
And never I say, see you later. No. Never. I can't. That's my
Regret.
My regret.
Let me tell you a story. It reminds me of a great story of India. So when I went to India, you know, I lost India. When I went to America, I lost India. And when I went to see my father for the first time at 27, before going to go see my father, I needed to know my mother India. And I walked from Manali to Leh. I hung out with Israeli Jews, kids who had been through the army. And one day, this is India. You know, this is the primest example of what you can experience in India. Aside from me doing another show called The Stories of India, because I have so many friends who experience so many stories, This is one story that I'd like to tell you. So, I don't know, it's April 25th on a full moon. Don't quote me on the date, but just go with me. It's full moon night, full moon that's coming up, and I'm in Pushkar going to go to Dharamsala. I'm with 3 beautiful young Israeli girls and a German boy. I have to stay on top of the bus because there's no room in the bus. So I give the seats up to the 3 Israeli girls, and me and the German boy are on top of the bus. And we are having to travel from Pushkar to a town named Buntar before we take another bus to Dharamsala. So on this small little trip, all of a sudden the bus comes to a halt. It stops. It's like screeches and stops. And I look from the top, and all of a sudden it's this couple who come out of the bus, and all of a sudden they're throwing rocks at the bus. And I come to later find out that one of the Israeli girls, they're drunk, illiterate couple from a village who have gotten offended because of their pride from, like you happen, in Mexico, ay gringo, or whatever, same kind of mentality is happening. And the bus takes off about 100 yards, 100 meters, 200 meters, runs away. And the couple who is throwing rocks at the bus, this Indian couple, they now chase the bus. And as they chase after the bus, all pretense is lost. Because in the adrenaline of chasing the bus, they lose all kind of throwing rocks at the bus to prove a point. Now they start throwing rocks inside the bus. And the whole bus empties. And all the men take the man, and all the women take the woman. And they start beating the hell out of this couple. India, at its core level, because of its oppression, repression, and pacifism, its violence, sexual and otherwise, is right at the very lower layer. And all these men and women basically beat this couple close to death and leave them on the road. And as I try to get down, they will not let me down because they don't want me to be involved. And the bus takes off. We take off. And we arrive, and now it's night, and the full moon is shining in Buntar, in an unknown place in the middle of India, in between Pushkar and Dharamsala. And there's a madman. And remember, my father is a madman, and I'm on a journey to go see my father. And this happens all the time in India, but this madman is yelling at me in German, Punjabi, Hindi, English, all the while that I'm walking with this one of the girls, who is so afraid that I cannot communicate with the truth of the mad. Madness and children are the only truth we know. The rest of us are all liars because they have no choice. And this madman, I'm communicating with him from the corner of my eyes that I cannot speak to you. This girl is too afraid. And so I take the girls, I take her, and I feed everyone, and I give them some food. And everybody's a little calmer with food. And we sit outside, and our feet are dangling above the gutter. In India, there's gutters everywhere. And the madman takes a corner. And he says, "I know of love." And I can't take it anymore, and the girls are okay, and I say, "Okay, what do you know of love?" And he says, I never knew of anything until she offered me a drink. And you know how you have to die a little to live a little, and you have to live a little to die a little? That's when I knew what love was. And all of a sudden, we start communicating to each other. Because I don't think him mad. I think him human who has been betrayed, and I start speaking with him.
Mm-hmm.
And the small little town, this place called Buntar, on a full moon night, slowly gathers. And as we talk to each other, all of the village is starting to understand this man that they have considered as the idiot of the village. And my bus to Dharamsala is about to arrive, and he whispers to me as the whole town is gathered, he says, when am I going to see you again? And I've been reading Dostoevsky's The Idiot on this trip, which he wrote about the perfect man. It's an autobiography. If you don't know it, I'll tell you the story of Dostoevsky writing The Idiot some other time. And I go, oh my God. And I tell him, I say, my friend, I am never, ever going to see you again. But I will carry you with me for the rest of my life. And I will honor this memory as I'm doing right now, forever. This is to go to your point of your regret, right?
Okay.
And slowly in India, there's a tradition where the sweet maker, the person who makes the pastries and the sweets, he gives the madman a box of sweets. The madman comes to the bus. We cry together. He hands me the box of sweet and we say goodbye. And the last part of this 24 hours is that one of the Israeli girls says, I love you. So in a matter of 24 hours, I've gone through madness, of violence, truth and madness, and love. And I just wanted to talk about regret. I don't think, or people we don't see. I had an image of Stanley Kubrick while you were talking to me about this regret. Because Kubrick was like this. Kubrick would drop people, like, you know, he would film them for 2 years of his life and then never see them again. And they would be wanting their friendship. Yes. But it's important to know that every moment we can carry, we may never see these people again. So I don't know if that helps or hurts this notion, but we can't avoid regret. You know, like all the lives that we didn't live, the people we didn't stay with, I don't know. But take me back to this. You talked about regret. I want to go to the other side of regret. I want you to remember, if for me, the moment of truth in some film where you were talking to somebody, and do you remember? I want to go to the other side of regret. You shared your regret of not having spoken to so many people, but tell me about a moment in your life where there was truth, or there was magic, or there was, I hate that word in Tulum, but you remember a moment?
If?
So you spoke about regret. Yes? You said one of your greatest regrets was
Oui.
that you never met up, you called these people and the friendship didn't remain, or whatever happened. But there was a moment in one of your films, or in a moment in life where there was some wisdom or something happened.
Yes, every time I'm trying to not to regret not to regret. Every time I think, they disappear. They disappear. And I was alive, but I'm not sure. How can keep the soul? I'm not sure to keep the soul. Because a movie is a short time. It's a time. Sometimes lapse time. That's only my problem, but it's a personal problem. I'm trying to change and to make a story with that. But I'm sure that outside of the film I want to do with you, I'm sure it exists another film based on the regret. They disappear, and to a feeling of a director or of a filmmaker to make a film on. It's like a writer, they're obliged to say it is a page, is a good page or not, and you throw it. You understand?
I do. J.D. Salinger, you know Catcher in the Rye? This book, Catcher in the Rye?
No, I don't not see it.
You know this book. It is the book that the man who killed John Lennon was holding. This is the most famous book, Holefield. It's the most famous book. There's an author that you know. How do you say J.D. Salinger, Catcher in the Rye?
Non, je n'ai pas vu. But I don't say it's a personal feeling. It's a general feeling about many artists, many creative.
Well, J.D. Salinger said a thing is made in the subtraction, not in the addition. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
You know, and I think that that's where all artists live, or should live. Is a lot of even though life is improvised, and a lot of my friends who have so much talent and depth and understanding, they live in improvisation. They live in addition.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very hard to subtract, to pull the juice out of the pulp, you know, out of the fruit. And a thing, this is the most, for an artist, I think, is the most, I don't know if regret is the right word, but since we're using regret, or their longing is to subtract their truth, their voice, their existential satra, or, you know, whoever you want to call, and parlay it, not to the people, as much as to know it for yourself. And I think that it's a great struggle, especially of our times, where we live in this flimsy, like improvisation and flow. This is the big word of today is, oh, you got to flow, or you're too deep, or that's too intense. And the intensity and the passion that it requires to subtract, to really fucking subtract, which is not what we're willing to do because we're so fucking lazy. Excuse my language. Not in the old days, you know, where you subtracted, you worked, you really took the time, and that's really gets hard for us, and it's a challenge for the artist. I would suggest in this age to try to subtract, try to go hide yourself away. I'll tell you another story. You know Paul Newman and Robert Redford? So,
Yes, I know.
so this is a great story about Paul Newman and Robert Redford. So Paul Newman said about Robert Redford, you know, Redford is fucking incredible. He wanted to be a painter in Paris, so he became a painter in Paris. He wanted to be an actor, he became an actor. You know, he wanted to direct, he directed. And for me, Paul I have to go to a cheap motel with a script and 3 cases of beer, and I still can't figure out what the fuck the script is. You know, like, there's people who have it and people who struggle with it, but people who try. Like Paul had to try to become the thing itself. Anyway, why don't we break into a song and we take the audience to another journey. Thank you for joining us. We're live at the Radio Tulum Hotel. I'm with my friend Mark. We are walking on the highway of a new dawn. I closed my eyes to dream a while, in some hotel where the neon bled. The window with a street light, Lady Midnight, how she cried. My song littered the sky. In the smoky mist, for that one kiss, I long to be young again. Love, oh dear love, where did you go? How do I know? What's to know? In the window, street light shine on 23rd Street. There was a crime, the killing of the killing was at hand. I remember you now. Somewhere, somehow, you were almost young. And love, oh dear love, when I had my song, I hailed the yellow taxi, take me away somewhere alone. I had nothing to say. Love, oh dear love, show me the way. I don't know who I am. Why didn't you stay? Wow, thank you for joining us. That was amazing. I had a little shedding of tears there. There are so many people here I want to thank, and Mariano, Lola, Andres, that are doing all the technical, my dog Radio, who's laying on the floor, and all these people that have joined us at the Radio Tulum Hotel. Mark, mostly, I want to thank you.
Thank you to be there.
Yes, thank you so much.
Tulum, je vous aime.
So, anyway, do you have any other questions for me? Do you have any questions you want to ask me?
I prefer to ask a question when all the staff, my staff, the team, will be here. It's all right?
Yes, you know, it's very important to keep it. Sometimes
Yes. I don't want to
hold
burn.
on to it.
I don't want to burn.
Yeah, but you know what? You're dealing with Mandeep, so it's okay.
No, believe me.
I always have
I
something
prefer
to say.
to keep it.
Okay, you keep the question. But tell me about a little bit more about you've lived 80 years of life. You know, 80 years of children, of filmmaking, of travel, giving up the West for the East, where the sun rose. What is it that you have come away with? Anything?
I'm trying to be the quicker.
You're trying to be what?
The quickest.
The quickest?
Yes.
Explain a little more.
In 50 days, I come back in France. Okay?
15 days. I have you for 15 days.
And I'm trying, all right, by the script. I'm looking for a phone to the producer I know. And after that, the ordinary system. Channel, money is money.
But the question isn't what will happen in the future. The question is time. You know, time has no greater value than a man through time. And you're a man through time.
Yes. Yes.
Of all of this time on this here grand earth, this so much life, so much experience. What?
Not my experience, not
your
not
experience.
the world experience.
No, just on the personal human level. Your experience, your personal experience. What is it that you've gained access to? What, if you had a class of students, what would you tell them about life?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Translator?
A traducteur, please. Si j'avais des
élèves
Oui.
et que tu leur faisais une classe sur la vie,
Une,
si tu leur donnais une classe sur la vie,
une
une classe, si tu avais des élèves
Oui.
et que tu leur faisais une classe sur la vie, qu'est-ce que tu leur dirais?
J'aurais pas.
Parle dans le micro,
Ok.
toujours.
Ah oui. I'm used to, but I forget. I am always a student. At 80, I am always a student. Every time I'm learning, and I'm so respectuous of the teacher. I'm not a teacher, I'm a passer. Passer in English.
Passer, you
Passer,
passing
passer.
through.
Pass, I pass.
Yes, I get it.
No a teacher.
But I forget about the student metaphor. Just if you were the friend, Leonard Cohen said, you're going down to Bill's bar to have a glass of wine. Your favorite place where you live, when you leave your boat, you go to a bar to have a glass of wine. And you run into a young man, and the young man says, Mark, share with me.
Okay, I understand. But I've said,
Well, I think you said it, but
j'appartiens. My world is past. My world. The code, many things is past. I know. I realize. I see the transformation of the world, the mind of the world, the reflex of the world, and the war. Don't forget the war. Everywhere.
yes,
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry, when I was born, in my consciousness, say, never again war, never again. Okay, and what I see now, war, everywhere, is vicious war, not world war, but it's worst. It's worst.
Well, strangely enough, Mark, I think that the war is not just the big war or the little war, it's the war amongst all the humans, too. There's a war.
A war.
A skepticism.
But many in the world. Yeah. Exceptionally in the West.
Yeah.
In the American country,
The exceptionalism.
Mexican country. There is other types of war, but it's war. And
Yeah, I mean-
I don't want to live in
There's a great quote by Leonard Cohen. He says, all the homicidal bitchin' that goes down in every kitchen to see who will serve
Sure.
and who will eat.
clear. It's clear.
I will pour myself whiskey, and well, actually, I'm not just drinking whiskey. Sorry, I'm drinking mezcal, but it looks like whiskey. It is strange. Our world, our time, our place, this age. I'll ask you a question, and I don't know if you need a translation, but what do you think this age, this time, demands? What do you think this age and this time demands of us?
It's a difficult question.
I know, but that's why we're here,
It's
right?
a serious question. It's a
Yes,
serious
of course.
question.
I know it's intense and deep, but
And I'm obliged to take time for.
take your time.
The world is not more crazy than before. No. I say no. Perhaps it's more lost.
Very nice word. Very nice word.
Lost.
Lost or lust?
Lost.
Lost. Yes. They wanted to.
Lost in
The two girls over there wanted
lost.
wanted me to name my shop. Let's Get Lost.
But no more crazy. Not so more crazy.
Yeah, and there's another great line that says, "She longs to be lost. He longs for the same." But it's a different kind of lost. It's not the lost that you feel when you're in love. It's not the lost that you long for, the lost of your impending doom, the feeling that your dog just died. It's a lost that is, it's unknowing, uncertain of anything, and no absolute. There is no absolute. There is no all the people. A lot of the people that I meet, they don't think that there's 1 + 1 possibly couldn't equal 2. You know, and I think it's a different type of lost. I think the world was always lost.
And lost without freedom.
Okay, that's another word.
It's another word.
That's
I know.
another
I know.
word.
I know.
You know,
But-
freedom is
But liberté, freedom in French,
is liberté.
in French, huh?
Yes.
Not especially in English. Freedom, that's the word of not Verlaine, Éluard, Paul Éluard.
Uh-huh.
I write your name on the wall, freedom. Point. What can you say after? What can you say after? Huh?
Well, the fact that you brought up Paul Verlaine, almost.
Because freedom, each time, each epoch has a notion special of freedom. I've taken the translation of freedom in my word, in my job, in my time. Now I realize it's changed. Many interdiction of many things, and freedom of many things too, to make the equilibrium. I know that, by example, cannabis. By example, it's a single example. In Deutschland now, it's permit. It's permit in 1 month. Everybody, 24 grams by person in the street. By example.
Well, I want to take this word freedom, if you don't mind. But, you know, liberté is a much better word than freedom. You know, liberté means something else, just like happy is different than joy. You know, there's a big difference with how the young, how the current state of what freedom really means. You know, Janis Joplin said, freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. You remember this song? Freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose.
Sure.
This is the mentality. I don't think the young or the people really realize that there's a lot to lose and there's a lot lost. And freedom should not be defined by doing what you want. This is not freedom. Just because, you're free, you know, you're free to speak, you're free to be, you're free. This is not freedom.
It's folklore.
This is, you know...
it's folk.
Yeah, you know, this is... freedom has an essence to it that allows love to exist and fights. There's a fight to freedom. And a fight is no longer...
Yes, there is no other way. Freedom to freedom to die, by example. By example. Because I talk about the tema. Your generation, not mine.
I'm not that far behind you.
No. Your generation, my dear. Freedom to die, freedom to live. Freedom, it's important word, evidently.
It's a very important word, but let's not confuse the white people's problems of freedom to the third world problems of freedom. I'm not, the Arab, the Syrian, the Indian, the women. That's a different type of freedom that's necessary. But the freedom that most of my friends speak about, or people speak about, this freedom, free, is a different type of freedom.
Yes.
Freedom for cannabis is not freedom.
Sure.
This
For our country.
It may be a change, but it's not freedom. Freedom, love, community, all these words are redefined.
Fraternity and equality.
Equality, yes.
Don't forget, on the three words, what is the only word you want to keep? Equity or equality?
Equity, yes, this is such a beautiful word.
Okay. Freedom or fraternity.
But liberated is different. Liberated
Sure.
is different than free. There's a difference. Joy and happy. Difference. I find the validation. There's a great thing that I read the other day. Somebody asks a character in a film, he says, how do you do all that you do? And he says, I try to remember. It's not about what I want. It's about what survives.
Exactly.
And I think people live in a world about what they want as freedom. What you want is, first of all, undefined. It still needs to be explored. And your responsibility to the greater world, to the whole world, to the common man. You speak about so many things, but the reason why you seek liberty, you seek liberty in your mind, you seek liberty from your own fucking bullshit and your own trauma, is because you can set another man, give another man or a woman liberty. You have a greater, your generation, speaking of generations, if we're going to divide, they had a sense of responsibility. World War II, let's say, had a sense of responsibility to the whole fucking world. Not to yourself. Self-love, self-help, self. Free yourself. Everything else will fall. Fuck you. I'm sorry to say.
No.
I'm sorry to say, but fuck you. Fuck your bullshit.
I've learned the word fuck
I'm
you.
Sorry.
A long time ago.
Let's give them another song, and we'll finish this up. I hope you guys have enjoyed our conversation, and I'm so, I don't know, I'm always reminded of something. Is when I choose to participate in life, or in poetry, or in conversation, I always come back to understand that I am free. I am liberated. Thank you, Mark, for giving me liberation today. I appreciate you, my brother. Why don't we give them another song? Even though there's a hardcore Mexican music playing. Thank you for joining us. We're live from the Radio Tulum Hotel. This is our rebirth, our resurrection.
Yeah, really, a rebirth.
Yes.
Yes. Rebirth. Yes. I am dead. I am dead. I am in rebirth.
You're in rebirth, Mark.
Eh?
You can choose.
I know.
You can choose right now.
Maya said to me, I am in rebirth. I am dead.
Well, maybe you're not. Maybe you've got still one last, maybe there's one last step to go.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You know, there's one more thing to do.
Okay.
You know, maybe choose.
Yes. Okay.
Choose life.
Okay.
Choose life, my brother. You know?
I will come back in my rebirth.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Well, we'll
I
be
promise
here.
you.
We'll be here.
I promise you.
I know you'll be here. You want to do one more song for them or no? Let's do another song.
A last song.
One last song. Yes or no? Thank you for joining us. What can I say? Life. 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 Live. You gotta live if you want to believe. Tell me of the space where you hide. Where love has not yet to reside. I will swim through your blood. I will swim through your veins. I'll break open the flesh for the song that remains. Life. 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 You gotta live. Start it now. My brother, my keeper. You can unfold now. If there's a breath that you can take, all of man is at stake. Where you are alive, no matter the age, fight for that breath that you were given. Don't unfold now. We're all stricken. For the ill and the dead. There ain't no way how. for life. Oh dear life, claim me somehow. I ain't ready to go. Just to know for life is mine, and I'm here to show. Mark, everybody, thank you for joining us. We are live from the Radio Tulum Hotel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Je vous aime, Tulum. Tulum is like every, Tulum. Je vous aime, Tulum.
Je vous aime, Tulum. Thank you for joining us. We are live from the Radio Tulum Hotel. I want to thank all of these people that have been living with us right here at the precipice of the crossroads, at the Dawn's Highway, living. I just want to remind you, either get busy living or get busy dying. It's your choice. Thank you so much for allowing me the precious moments, Mark, and all my friends who are here and who are in the frequency. We're marking the fucking analog. Fuck the audience. I love you anyway. Hear the love in all that you do.